Welcome in, I'm Artris, and our first video of OP08, we're going to be going over Lucci, which I think is probably the best deck in the format, if not one of the best decks. Now, at the end of OP07, we saw it got hit with a ban with the Enies Lobby stage being banned from the deck list, which hurt it in its early to mid-game stages because the free cost reduction with the stage is no longer relevant. However, we are able to replace that with a few events, and also in OP08, Lucci gets some tools which really help strengthen its core. Now, before we get into the deck list, if you find anything in this video useful or informative, please make sure to drop a like and a sub. It helps out the channel immensely. I cannot thank you enough for the support. Additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, please make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description below. Now, Lucci, if you're unfamiliar, is a 5-life leader in black that says when attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost for the turn. So it has a natural cost reduction built into it, very strong with what it's trying to do. Now, the core doesn't really change much from OP07. We are running a lot of Morias, but we'll get to that. We are running 2 Spandines, which this is a 3-cost, 2,000 power body. On play, you may return 3 cards with CP in its type from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Play up to 1 cost 4 or lower character with the CP in its type other than Spandine from your trash rested. This is often going to be a very central piece with your Moria combo, being able to go Moria into Rebecca into a cost reduction like a Helmeppo, and then off of the Rebecca be able to play the Spandine, and then the Spandine, using its effect, can play a 4-cost Rob Lucci. So you're able to accumulate a lot of bodies on the board for very cheap. Another piece that I think I bumped up from the last set is the 3-cost Brook from EB01. It's an on-play when attacking. Give it to one of your opponent's characters, cost -1 for the turn, then KO up to one of your opponent's 0-cost characters. This is great for just an additional cost reduction. However, it can be used for the KO effect, and it can be revived with the Rebecca, can be revived with Moria. So if it is in your trash, we are able to get it back out. I think this is one of your strongest early plays, being able to play this down on your 3-Dawn turn, or maybe even 4-Dawn turn if you don't have like a Khalifa, which we're getting into next, which is a 4-cost, 4,000 power body. It's most importantly a 2K counter. However, I would say that besides it being an important 2K counter, the on-play draw 2, trash 2 is very important for early cycling, especially if you are going second and you don't see a Moria in your opening hand. Being able to play a Khalifa and dig deeper into the deck to get the Morias or get some pieces that you might need for later on is really important. Then we're running 3 Spandam. This is one you can probably run 3 to 4 of. I'm running 3 just because I didn't really have as much space in the deck to change some things around. So the on-play is if your leader has CP in its type, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 CP type, and other than Spandam, and add it to your hand, then trash the remaining cards. This is great, being able to fill up your trash with the Spandam. You can also grab a lot of things with this as well, since we do have a fair amount of CP9 or CP0 cards in the deck. This is also a very important piece if you're going against Black Yellow Luffy, because you do not really want to attack into the Black Yellow Luffy to be able to fill up your trash, so Spandam does that for you. Then we have Sabo, which is a 5-cost blocker. My favorite card in the game, I think. It's an on-play. Your characters can't be KO'd by card effects until the start of your next turn, and then draw 2, trash 2 cards. This is also great to fill up your trash. If you're going against Black Yellow Luffy, which will be a very prominent deck, this helps you fill up your trash without having to attack. Same thing with the Khalifa that I talked about earlier. That also fulfills that role. Then we're running 3 Rebecca. I think you could probably get away with running 3. 4 is usually what you'll see in most deck lists, but I think it's best when it's in the trash, and so you will likely have it in the trash at 3. It's a blocker that says return up to 1 black character other than Rebecca with a cost of 3 to 7 from your trash to your hand, then play up to 1 cost 3 or less black character from your hand to the field rested. We've talked about the combo in the past, but I'll get to it when we get to Moria, but this is a very important piece of your combos. Then we have the 4-cost Lucci, 4-cost, 6,000 power body. On play, you may place 3 cards from your trash on the bottom of your deck in any order. Can be any type, by the way. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 2 or less, and then up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 1 or less. So being able to get rid of 2 bodies with a single body is very strong, especially when you have a lot of decent cost reduction in the deck. Then, of course, the card that I think everybody is talking about how it's just the most broken card in the game, 8-cost Gecko Moria. Things have not changed going from OP07 to OP08. This is probably still one of the most broken cards in the game. It's an on-play. Choose up to 1 cost 4 or less and up to 1 cost 2 or less character from your trash. Play one of them and then play the remaining rested. So what you're going to be doing with this is oftentimes playing the Gecko Moria on 8, playing the Rebecca, which is a 4-cost blocker, then playing a Helmeppo, which is a 2-cost character. You play the Helmeppo rested, -3 to something, And then Rebecca can grab a character 3 to 7. So a lot of things in this deck, but more often than not, the Spandine. The Spandine then can be played from hand because you can play a character of 1 to 3. The Spandine, when it comes out, then you bottom 3 CP types and then can play a Lucci from trash. You can also play a Khalifa from trash if you so choose. You can also play a Who's Who, which we'll get to in a second, but the more important pieces here are the Khalifa to either filter if you have nothing to pop, or the Lucci to pop something if there is something to be able to pop. Then we're running 2 6-cost Brook. This is a choose one, put up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less into their trash, or your opponent puts 3 cards from their trash to the bottom of their deck in any order. More times this will be just used for the first effect, being able to trash a character 4 or less. Very important to get rid of the very sticky Borsalinos, or potentially something that says it can't be KO'd. The other thing you can use this for is against Nami, being able to bottom deck 3 cards from the trash. Keep in mind they do get to choose which 3. So optimally, being able to play this when their trash isn't really full of things that they really care to have go back into their deck. Try not to do it when they have like 3 peel-offs, because at that point, then they'll be able to pretty much guarantee that they'll get those peel-offs back at the end of the day. I'm running 1 Stussy. It's a 9-cost, 9,000 power body, CP0 type. On play, you may place one of your characters into the trash, KO up to one of your opponent's characters. You will have a lot of just smaller bodies that really don't have much use past them being on the field. So like the Helmeppos or the Spandines, and then you can just play the Stussy and then KO something with that. You can also do it with the Spandams as well. Forgot to mention that. But the Stussy, I think it's very useful as like a response to a Zoro, for instance, especially if you've run out of cost reduction. Stussy's really great there. Also really solid against Enel, just being able to get rid of like maybe a 10-cost ace that you don't really have the cost reduction for. It's kind of like an emergency button, and it can be searched out by the Spandam. Next, we have Jack, which is a new addition from OP08. This is a 7-cost, 8,000 power body, so it helps you with your going first curve. This character cost plus 4 cost, very important, because if you're going in a mirror, it's very hard for this character to be removed. And the activate main, you may rest this card, draw 1 card, and trash 1 card from your hand, then KO up to one of your opponent's cost 3 or lower characters. This is great because oftentimes you can get characters very easily down to 3, and you're able to filter out your hand, filling up your trash, drawing a card in the process, while having a body that's really hard to remove through KO effects, through bottom decking effects, and they're going to have to attack into it for the most part to be able to get rid of it. And 8,000 power is really hard to just invest a lot of Dawn in and get rid of it, because you can probably counter out. So Jack is a solid addition to the deck. You might want to look to run it at 4. You could replace the Stussy, but I just decided to have a Stussy in there because 1, it's searchable, and 2, it's nice to have a little bit of an emergency button in situations that you might need it in. Another new addition from OP08 is Who's Who, which is a 5-cost, 5,000 power body. It's a 2k counter, and it says on play you may discard 1 card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 3 or lower characters. It also has a trigger that says KO up to one of your opponent's cost 3 or lower characters. So the trigger is also just the on play effect. It is very interestingly a former CP9, so you can search it off the Spandam. You can play it off of a Spandine, so there are some nice practicalities there. So I think Who's Who basically replaces Kaku, which we saw from the last set, as like the 2k counter of choice here. Then I'm running 3 Helmeppo. It's a 2-cost, 3,000 power body. On play, give up 20 of your opponent's characters -3 to their cost during this turn. I really like it at 3 because I want it to be in the trash. And if it's in the trash and you draw into 1, you're also not upset to see it in your hand because you can just hardcast it and get the -3 for 2. So that's a very nice effect overall, but more times than not, you want it in the trash, and having 3 in your deck usually means you'll find it in the trash at some point. Next up, I'm running 4 Ice Age. This is basically what replaced the stage. It is a 1-cost main event that says give up to one of your opponent's characters -5 cost for the turn. So instead of the -2 with the stage that you're getting for free every turn, you do have to pay 1, so you're losing a card out of hand. But being able to -5 to anything on the field pretty much guarantees that you're able to, with obviously a few other effects, get rid of whatever you need to get rid of. With Ice Age and a Moria, you're able to get rid of anything on the field, especially if you have a Lucci and Helmeppo in the trash. That's the most important thing there. I'm running 1 Soap Sheep. I think Soap Sheep could be a cuttable card. It is a 1-cost event that says give up to 2 of your opponent's characters -2 to their cost during this turn. The trigger is your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. That's not really as relevant. I think what I'm using this for is in cases of aggro decks popping up, like maybe Zuzoro, maybe even Chopper, for instance, or like if Doflamingo decides to go super aggro before they decide to get into the starter deck meta, then Soap Sheep is really nice for that. It is searchable, so that's also something to keep in mind. It is a CP9 card, and being able to cost reduce 2 things, -2, and then be able to rob Lucci will usually get rid of those things. And so I think it's important, especially in the Zuzoro match, which might start popping up because it is a decent deck. Next, I'm running 1/6 King Pistol. This is a 0-cost counter event that just says, trash 1 card from your hand up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. The trigger is draw 1 card, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 1 or less. Typically, I'm not going to be using that effect either. I want to be able to use this to pitch dead cards from hand because we are running a fair amount of bricks, and sometimes if there's a Lucci in your hand and you don't have one in trash, you need to be able to find a way to get it in the trash, and the 0-cost event helps you do that. The Jack also helps you do that, but I think 0-cost event in a defensive pinch comes in very clutch. And then, of course, we're running Tempest Kick, a 1-cost event that says draw 1 card. After this, if your trash has 10 or more cards, give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 cost for the turn. And then the trigger is KO up to one of your opponent's characters cost 3 or less, which is really nice as well if you do have aggro decks that you're going against and this comes out of life. Sometimes you just don't have time to set up 10 cards in your trash for this to really take effect. And because of that, you might want to use this as a KO effect in some of those situations where you're going against aggro. Most times, though, you will be using it for the -3 because getting to 10 is usually relatively easy with this deck, especially since you're not running Kaku. Kaku is a 5-cost, 6,000 power body that you'd have to remove cards from your trash. You also, just so you are aware, you might want to run Finger Pistol, I think is what it's called, from EB01, which is a 4-cost event that KOs something that's 5 cost or less. I think that's pretty important. I'm not running it in this deck list because I want to try out some of the newer tools. This deck list might evolve over time to include it. I think it's a pretty powerful card overall because it is CP9, I think, or CP0. Very easy to search off of with Spandom if you need it. So that's something to keep in mind. But overall, I think this deck list is pretty solid. Like I said, I'm testing out some things here and there, like Soap Sheep, Stussy, and of course the new stuff as well, Who's Who and Jack. So I think you do have opportunities to take things out, move things around. But this is the deck list we'll try out for now. It's always been a really great deck. In OP07, we saw it rise up and become one of the best decks, if not the best deck. And then OP08, I think, really is its time to shine. I think it'll have a lot of good matchups. And I think with the addition of Jack and Who's Who, a lot of the problems that were with this deck, like going first, for instance, are solved. And then also being able to, if you don't find Moria, being able to dig deeper with Jack, or you just have a body that's pretty nice and hefty as well as really good. So yeah, Lucci's pretty solid. Let's take it into the sim though and see how it does. All right, we're going to go against Bonney. Let's take second. Usually that's our better curve here, and I think this hand is all right. I see a Moria, so we'll take that. Let's keep this. Now, when I was talking about having the Finger Pistol, I think is what it's called, that is a very important card in this matchup specifically. We don't see it, which is unfortunate, so let's grab the Lucci. And now we have a Lucci in hand that we need to get rid of. We could also probably use the Tempest Kick, but I think we'll save it for now. And let's take this first hit, see what we get. Okay, so get a Spandom. That's totally fine. With this, I think what we're going to end up doing is probably just swing into the Bonney, get rid of it. Oh, we actually don't even need to do that. We can probably just swing at face now. Reduce the cost here. They're going to rest the Spandom. That's fine. We're going to play a Spandom, see what we can get off of it. I guess we'll grab the Soap Sheep and then play a Brook and get rid of the Bonney. I didn't want to attack into the Bonney if I didn't have to, and thankfully I didn't, so that's very nice there. What do we want to do here? I think we'll just counter out, stay at 4 for now. We're at 7. Oh. I mean, we could always, you know, we could always just go like 5 at face, mill 2. They're probably going to rest the Brook, which is fine. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really know if I want... I mean, I do want to get rid of this Cavendish, to be honest. It's kind of an annoyance. But I think we need to get rid of these Luccis in hand instead. And we're not going to be able to use the Tempest Kick next turn anyway, so let's go ahead and use it to just get rid of something. Get rid of this, fill up the trash, see what we can cycle into. Carrot is a pretty annoying card. On play, when attacking one of your opponent's rested characters, cost 7 or less, do not become active during their opponent's next refresh phase. So yeah, that's an annoyance for sure, but we'll take care of it, hopefully. We should be able to take care of it. I think it's important to get rid of... I think it's pretty important to get rid of probably the carrot. Both of these are really good targets to get rid of, not gonna lie. So if we cost reduce one of these, get it down to 4, does it really matter? I mean, they're gonna reduce this. I think we should just fill up our trash regardless. They're gonna rest the Sabo. Let's pressure the Cavendish instead. Instead of just swinging face and filling up trash, I want to pressure the Cavendish, get a card out of hand. They're likely going to protect this, and I think it's more important to get rid of the carrot because I don't want them locking down my stuff, but I also don't want this thing to free up Dawn for them either. So that's kind of an annoyance overall, but it is what it is. So I guess since we do have a Rebecca, we can do the combo. So let's go ahead and do the combo. We're going to go Moria, Rebecca, Helmeppo. Helmeppo is going to get rid of the carrot. Then we can grab a Spandane. Spandane will then play over the Helmeppo. We're going to use this to get rid of 3 things that are CP related. Play the Lucci. Lucci comes out. Then we're going to get rid of 1, 2, and 3. And just get rid of that. That's fine. We have a board now. That's pretty nice. This turn, if they play Hody Jones, that could be a problem for us. It looks like they might be playing a more aggro version, considering they have the 5-cost Luffy, so they might be running a fair amount of 5-cost stuff. You should always play something down first if you're going to be using the Cavendish. I'm going to counter out of that if I can. What do they have for 9? This could potentially be... I think this is going to be like a Zoro, potentially. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, so how do we get rid of the Zoro here? There's a couple ways we can do it. First off, I think what we should do is go... Well, let's see what we can do here. We get 3, so we can go -3 here. So down to 6, down to 4, down to 3, and then Jack. We can go Jack and get rid of it. That's a possibility. Let's go ahead and just swing at the Cavendish. Get rid of the Cavendish if we can. Swing 5 at face, minus that by 1. Is there a world where we can get rid of it just off of maybe another Moria? I feel like there is. So it's down to 8. We get it down to 5. Then we get it down to... Yeah, I think we can just do that. Draw a card. It's down to 5. Go here. Boom. We'll go here. 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 Grab out the Spandane. We're going to do the same combo again. 1, 2, and 3. Play this down. Use the card action. 1, 2, and... gosh, this is tough. I guess this is Sabo. 3, get rid of it. And then I'm going to swing with a Sabo. I'm just going to be aggressive here. They have no board. We have 1 blocker up. The most they can do is Hody Jones. They could also just go like... and this might be, yeah, this could potentially be like a Doflamingo. If it's a Doflamingo, that's, oh, another Zoro. Yeah, that's a problem. That is a little bit of a problem, but we might be able to race them here. So we just go 9. They rest that one, that's fine. Go 9 again. This is going to ask for a lot of cards out of hand. 1, 2, 3. Then we could go 7. I think we just go all in here. Yeah, I think we just go all in. I think that because I didn't have a reduce, like, I think because I didn't have a reduction here, it's like one of those things where I have to just race them. If they decide to go for a Hody Jones, we can counter out with the Sabo, and then we can counter out the Hody with the 2-2Ks, and then they can just pick apart our board if they'd like to, or just go for a game at that point. I think we're fine no matter what, but I think racing there is the right choice. All right, we're going to go against Pudding. We're going to take second. Not that they really want to go second. I think they mostly want to go first anyway. But I think what's important here is that we do have a decent curve. We also have a couple of things that we can probably grab into. Khalifa's perfect here. Let's go ahead and use our Tempest Kick. Amazing. Something that you should note if you're going against Pudding, one of the things that I think you should never do is attack into them after they use their ability the first time, because if you attack into them after they use this ability, they can then use a Katakuri to then the 6-cost Katakuri to bottom, or sorry, to flip the life down. They want to be able to have, to use their ability twice so that they can get to 10 really fast. By not swinging this turn, it basically guarantees that they're not going to get to 10 on time. So this, they'll be able to do a 6-cost Katakuri, no problem. The 6-cost Katakuri will only flip one down and then ramp one, and then they'll be at 9 the following turn. Okay, so they don't even have that, which is perfect for us. This seems like it could be a Viola. They might just swing 5, yeah. Swing 5 here. They're still going to be able to ramp. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. We have the Brook, which can get rid of the Spawn Clay, which is really nice here. I want to bait them into using the Viola, so let's minus the Viola when we attack. Because if we minus the Bond Clay, that means that's our focus. If we minus the Viola, that might be like, oh, we're going to try to focus this Viola down, and then they'll see us minusing it, and they're going to be like, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and use it. If we can get rid of it this turn, I think that's fine. Use the card action, minus the Viola. We do get a Lucci and trash. Very nice here. Told you they would use it there. Send this to the trash and then pass the turn. This next turn, we might be able to KO whatever they throw down. Actually, it's going to be pretty difficult. If they're on 9, it's going to be difficult. Okay, on 6, it's a little bit easier because all it is a leader swing. Plus, if we can counter out with a Helmeppo, I think that's important. Even though they're going to probably swing 8 here, no matter what they swing, I'm going to be honest here, I'm just going to get rid of this Helmeppo and just take the hit. Yeah, okay, we had a Helmeppo in life anyway, so I'm just using the Helmeppo to put it in the trash. It's exactly what I want to do there. We're going to swing 5. We're going to lower the cost of this Newgate. We're going to swing 6 here. Then let's go... Ooh, what do we have? Do we have the combo? We do not have the combo. Not yet. Okay, so let's go here. We'll go and play the Lucci into the Helmeppo. This will get rid of that. Then we're going to use this to, I guess, 1, 2, and 3. Get rid of these 2, and then pass the turn. Now they're going to be on 10. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're going to go and do this. And now we can pressure them pretty hard. Ooh, that's really solid. Okay, we're going to go 5 here. Minus. What can we do? It's at 9. We can get it to a 6. Down to a 1. Okay, let's swing 6 here. Okay, that's a decent attack for them. The beige is pretty solid. We're going to go Tempest Kick into an Ice Age. We'll go Moria here, and let's go ahead and get a search off. We'll grab a 2K and then use this. 1, 2, I'm just putting events back, get rid of this, and then pass the turn. They might do another 10 cost, because once they get to 10, they usually just drop a bunch of 10 costs. It's pretty unfortunate. We're going to get rid of the Who's Who that we just got from the trash. Totally fine there. Moria, Moria, Moria. Okay, so what do we do here? We can go 5 at lead. Use the effect -1. It's at 9 there. Let's go ahead and go 6 at lead. Go ahead and go 7 at lead. Let's go ahead and go, okay, 9 at lead. There's a world where we could just go all in and go like 11 at lead. Well, we're not going to do that anymore. What can we do instead? Do we have a span? We do not have the freaking combo here. Okay, so it's at 9. Gets it down to 4. We'll go ahead and use this. Oh, we actually messed up. I think we messed up here. No, we didn't. We did not mess up. We did not mess up. We'll go here, here, get this down. We could go Brook. We could just go Brook. We have the Spanding and trash. Yeah, I was going to go Brook. The reason I thought I messed up is because I didn't have a Spandine in trash, and I also didn't play the Moria over the Lucci, but then I realized I had the Spandine in hand, that I could just get it out with the Rebecca, and then use that to get the Lucci out. But we could also just go and play the Brook as well, although I will say probably the Lucci is probably a better play so that we have a body we don't have to invest in. They were going to get another 10 cost Linlin the next turn. So yeah, that's this deck is pretty potent. If they're able to get to 10 a turn sooner, it's really hard for us to deal with it because our Moria plays cannot get rid of their Linlins. If they're on 10 and we're on 8, but if we're able to at least then use our Moria to establish like a body and then be able to use our minus effects like the Ice Ages on whatever they play on the Tendon, then it should be okay. But yeah, never swing into them. If they're going first, never swing into them after they use their leader ability. That's the #1 tip I can give you guys. All right, we're going to go against Kalgara here. Kalgara is a new leader from OP08. This hand is all right. We don't have anything early, but we have a Sabo to at least filter our hand a little bit, which I think is fine. So this is a Dawn ×1. When attacking, put a character with a Shandian Warriors type from your hand into play that has a cost equal to or less than the number of Dawn you control. Then if you played a card, put the top card of your life into your hand. This card is able to cheat out a bunch of bodies, so it can be very difficult to deal with, especially when they start putting out really powerful bodies out on the field. We don't have anything to do here, so let's just go ahead and swing 8 into lead. One of the things that this deck wants to do is it wants to try to protect itself so that it stays at a life total that's pretty high. It's kind of like Purple Luffy, where they use their life as a resource to be able to play bodies down. So let's make sure that we at least like counter out of stuff if we can. They didn't get a Holy off of this, which is really solid for us. That's amazing to see. Let's go ahead and swing 5. They take it. I think we go ahead and we could Soap Sheep, but I don't know if that really makes sense. Let's go ahead and just use this. Okay, that's pretty solid. I think we put the Brook in the trash. Soap Sheep in the trash. That's tough. We'll pass a turn. I don't want to get rid of the Morias, and I don't want to get rid of the Jacks, and I want to be able to stay like healthy if I can for this early game. This is where they start using their leader ability. They should be able to put out the, yeah, Kalgara. We're going to just go ahead and counter out of this. I think we take this one, and they'll probably heal back up. They might. You never know. They might heal up. They might play a 5-cost Ace. That's also something that they're running in this deck. Yeah, they're able to heal back up. That's fine. Okay, so what we're going to end up doing is just swing 5 here. Leader ability. They'll probably counter out of this one. And then let's use the Jack here to draw 1. We're going to trash the Rebecca and then KO the Ohm. Now we have a pretty big body, which is really nice here. And we have a Tempest kick for the next turn. Let's try to stay as healthy as possible. This is a turn where they're probably going to swing 6 the lead. They might swing 7 here. They might also swing really big into the Jack. But what we want to do is be able to get rid of this Kalgara. They're just trying to heal with the Norland or the Nolans. I think the translation is a little bit off here. Okay, so they're just trying to apply as much pressure as possible. That's fine. Go here, and then I guess we can just go ahead and go here. They might just want to attack in here. Okay, they attack into the Sabo. I think we're okay with that. What do we get? Do we get anything good from this? We don't have a Helmeppo in the trash, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and just swing here, and then use this. Probably on the Noland. Not that it really matters. We'll go here. Let's go ahead and draw 1, trash 1, and then we're going to go ahead and play the Moria. The Moria will grab Rebecca. We don't have anything else. So Rebecca's going to grab the Khalifa, and then we can play the Spandine off of it, and then grab another 2k. So that's pretty solid there. We didn't have anything like a Helmeppo, unfortunately, in the trash to be able to do anything with that. But now we got rid of their big threat. They are at 4 life again, and they have a bunch of cards in hand, which is a nuisance. But what we're able to do now is like start picking apart their board with their bodies, because we do have a fair amount of big bodies here. And the other good thing about this is that them being at 4 life means that they cannot get their 5-cost ace rush. So all they can do here is kind of just use their life as a resource again to try to draw a card and play a body. Let's go ahead and just counter out of these. That's fine. And then if they decide to swing here again, then what we'll end up doing is we'll just block out of it with the Rebecca. No matter what they do here, we're going to block out of it with the Rebecca. An Ice Age would be really solid. Another Tempest Kick would be really good. Tempest Kick is really good in these matchups, mostly because of the fact that... Oh, that's actually really good here. We can just get rid of the Wiper for free. Tempest Kick, by the way, is really good against these decks because they don't have a lot of big creatures overall. Ooh, do we have another Rebecca in the trash? We do. Let's go ahead and just get rid of it. Like, yeah, this is fine. Any cost reduction at all. Okay, so I think what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to go 6 here, minus the Wiper. We're going to go 10 here. They have to get rid of a bunch of cards. They're not going to. That's fine. We're going to play a Moria. Moria is going to grab this. I guess we should have just used the Rebecca anyway, but I wanted a Spandine. I guess Spandine was already in trash. Doesn't matter. Wow. Okay, awesome. Play this down. Go here. No targets. Then we're going to use this to get rid of that. And then pass the turn. Now we have a pretty sizable board that we can comfortably handle whatever they throw at us. It might be another game plan where they just swing at our bodies. Which, if that's the case, I'm going to counter out. I don't care if I go down to 0. I really don't. If I go down to 0 cards in hand, what are they going to do? If I go down to 0 cards in hand and they have no board themselves, then there's not much that they can do. If they get an Ohm Holy, that's pretty solid. Them not getting Ohm Holy hurts. It hurts, man. Okay, so we're going to go 5 here. Minus this. Not that it matters. Because we'll probably be able to get rid of these rested units, to be quite honest. We'll go here. We'll go 10 here. Draw 1. Okay. Get rid of that. And then we're just going to go... I know this is weird, but I'm just going to go 9. Use the card action. Do they get something? They might get... Okay, that's pretty good for them. I'm going to use the card action to put stuff back because, well, I don't want to mill myself out here. 1, 2, and 3. No targets. Pass the turn. Yeah. So now they can get rid of our board, but they're going to have to spend time doing it, which is probably not what they really want to use their Dawn for. This is an aggro deck, and they don't want to be having to contest the board. They want to be hitting face. The fact that we have a pretty full board is really nice for us because that means that they have to focus the board to get it down, and we're also at a high life total. So now that they're going to be taking care of our board here, then we're just able to go for face. We can take care of their board. So yeah, we're in a pretty good standing here. They're also likely not going to... Okay, well, I say likely not. This probably means that they have a Noland. If that's the case, then so be it. They could go Noland. Oh, they go Ace. Go 9. Okay. That's fine. I think we can just poke face and see what they do. We don't need to go for the board anymore. We can just go face. I think that's game. They spent so much time trying to pick our board apart that by the time that they got to pick our board apart, they were low life total, and we had a pretty big board overall. So Kalgara is definitely one where if they start hitting you pretty hard early, it's going to be a tough time, especially when they were able to accumulate a massive hand size, and then they had 4 life and a couple of bodies on the board. But Jack definitely put in some work. Obviously, Moria's very solid no matter what matchup you're going against. Our life was Helmeppo. That's why we didn't see Helmeppos, because they were all in life. We finally got one eventually. So there is Lucci in a nutshell for OP08. I do recommend that you mess around with the list. Obviously, it's going to change versus what you're playing against and what your meta looks like. I do think that the Stussy and the Soap Sheep might be some cards that you can take out. Maybe put some more Jacks in, put some like Kakus, the 5 cost, the Finger Pistol, which I've been calling Finger Pistol, but I'm not sure if that's actually the name. I don't know why I'm not sure if it's actually the name. Is it Finger Gun? Okay, Shigun Finger Gun. The entire time I've been calling it Finger Pistol. This is the event that I was talking about that you might want to add in as well. Really solid against decks like Bonney, being able to KO their 6-cost Hawkins without having to worry about the effect going off. So yeah, that's something you might want to add in. Nightmare Luffy is also a really good card that you could add in as well. We've definitely seen, I think this card right here has been added into some decks in OP07. Most people like to play it. I'm choosing to play Brook because it's a very similar effect, although Luffy is much better against Enel because of the 7-cost Enel clause overall. Yeah, if you're looking to play one of the meta decks that consistently can top and do well, I would recommend Lucci. I will say, even though I just said it's consistent and winning, one of the problems with the deck is that the consistency of the deck itself is a little kind of wonky, just because you don't really have searchers for your good top end like Moria or Jack. You kind of just have to draw into them, which is why we do have a fair amount of draw power with the Khalifa and the Sabo. Also, these Tempest Kicks can be used as draw power early on. Another thing that I didn't mention that is really interesting for this deck is that Rebecca can also grab Jack if it is in the trash. So keep that in mind, that it is a fetchable card if it is milled using your leader ability. So yeah, this deck, really solid. Like I said, if you're looking to do well at big tournaments like regionals or any kind of treasure cups, I would recommend trying this deck out and seeing if it fits your playstyle. If you like decks that are more control oriented, this is really great for you. OP08 is going to treat it well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.